So next up, we have a presentation from Intra Energy Corporation with the ticker code IEC, a company focused on mineral exploration and development for the future. To tell us more, I'm joined by Managing Director, Ben Dunn. Hello, Ben.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Jane. How are you?
Well, thank you. Let me bring up your presentation.
Thank you very much. Good morning or good afternoon, wherever you are today. Thank you for your time. I'm Benjamin Dunn. I'm here to talk about Intra Energy Corporation, which is now exploring for new energy metals in the Yalgarra area of West Australia. So IEC, as we affectionately know it, has a long history, was originally a uranium explorer and then became a coal miner in Tanzania and Eastern Africa. I joined 2 years ago in May 2021 with the purpose of recapitalising and redirectionalising the company, getting it out of Africa and certainly out of coal, back into Australia, where our shareholders were really advocating that we needed to be, and certainly looking at opportunities. And we certainly heard what our shareholders were saying and what the market was saying in general, out of coal and into battery materials. So the board identified a number of opportunities, and through a partnership with New Century, some geologists based in Western Australia, we identified an opportunity, an exploration opportunity at Yalgarra in central Western Australia. We liked this opportunity because there was some work being done around it, but largely an underexplored, unexplored area with potential for a company making discovery. So we currently have just a tick over 700 million shares on issue. Share price, we feel, has underperformed the exploration work that we've done recently. We did a small raising at the back end of last year. We have sufficient cash in hand for what we're going to be doing over the next 6 months and driving the company forward. We have a fairly tight register. The board management is strongly supportive of the company and has put their money where their mouth is. The top 10 shareholders are all very supportive and are nearly 50%, and the top 20 shareholders equate to about 60% of the company. So we've got strong support for the direction that we're taking. We're well backed. So Graham Robertson is the chairman. Some of you may know Graham. He has a long history in mining, a long successful history in mining, particularly in the Asian region and now in Africa. Graham brought me on to change the direction of the company, realising that coal mining was not the future, and certainly not the future for this company. We narrowed the board down at the end of last year from 5 to 3, and the other director besides myself and Graham is Alan Fraser, who brings over 30 years of mining experience to the board, and certainly represents shareholders strongly as a non-executive director. The other key members of the team are Ed Boltus and Steve Hart from New Century. They identified the Yalgarra Project, both with outstanding resumes and strong geological experience, both geologists, and they identified this project, brought it to us, and we were delighted to partner up with them, and Jack Rosagro, our company secretary. So as I've said, the strategic direction of the company was to exit fossil fuels and also to exit Africa. We had quite a good project in Tanzania, but the company was never able to make it work, and clearly coal wasn't the future. We managed to sell that asset 12 months ago to a mining entrepreneur in Tanzania for $2 million and assumption of the debt within the subsidiary companies. That deal is still, unfortunately, waiting for final approval from the Tanzanian government. We've received half of the consideration, $1 million US. There's another $1 million US due to us, and we're hopeful and expectant that will come to us in the near future. So we're working with the purchaser and the Tanzanian government for completion of the sale, and we expect that hopefully will happen in the coming months. We have a small interest in a gold project in Mozambique. Unfortunately, that's been impacted by terraced activity in northern Mozambique. We haven't been able to complete any work on that, and we're now looking at our options there, with probably the likelihood that we'll unload that and just wholly focus on our Australian operations. So our flagship operation is at Yalgarra, which is 125 kilometres east of Kalbarri in Western Australia. We like this project. We think it has excellent mineralisation. We own 70% of the licence. It's a large area. It covers about 400 square kilometres in total in 2 blocks. We were attracted to it by the fact that the area hadn't been explored, but there is now work going on around us. And we're particularly excited about the opportunity for copper in particular, and nickel, cobalt, and platinum group elements. So the initial work that's been undertaken by our neighbours, Todd River, S2 and Ozquest amongst them. We also have Chalice to our southern boundary. It's not their flagship operation, but they're certainly interested in this area as an extension north of their Julimar operations. We've undertaken our airborne surveys and targeted particularly a series of ultramafic rocks within our licence, which we think are starting to bear, really starting to bear some fruit with the exploration work that we're doing there. So as I said, the airborne electromagnetics AEM survey has been completed. We identified 13 compelling conductors across the 2 blocks, across the entire licence. We've now also completed our soil geochemistry sampling, and the initial results back from the northern block have identified 3 high-quality target areas. We've named these as Yallarong South, Hillside, and Birtwell. Yallarong South is particularly exciting to us, and further work's about to be undertaken there. Unexpectedly, in the northern part of the northern block, we've identified some lithium anomalies, and we're doing some further work on those. So the lithium results which we announced last week to the market, we weren't expecting this. The geologists were surprised because we originally thought that the host rocks weren't conducive to lithium anomalism. Some further work was done, and then we resampled the holes, and they came back much stronger than we had originally anticipated. We've taken some rock chips from what we think are possible pegmatites, and they've been submitted for analysis. And this, I think, will be the focus of our exploration in the next quarter. This we think is most exciting. We have another project in New South Wales. We've identified it as the Louth Project. It's north of Cobar. There's been some historical work done there. We picked this up because there was 5 high-quality drill targets, and we think that there's a strong likelihood for copper in the area. There's similar sorts of rocks that we're seeing just south in Cobar, and particularly it's very similar to the project that Aeris has at Tritton. Significant historical work. We've resampled it and came back with elevated mineralisation. We'd expected to drill this last year, but the floods in New South Wales had prevented any further work being done on that. But it is a target that we intend to work later this year, and we're working with the local landowners to get permission and get in and drill those targets, because we think that it's something that's not only interesting, but we can reasonably quickly assess. So in summary, we've undertaken a fairly significant transformation and directional change of the company. We've gotten out of Africa, we've moved back into Australia, we've gotten out of coal, out of fossil fuels, and we are now really strongly exploring for battery materials, particularly copper, nickel, platinum group elements, and lithium. We have 2, what we believe are very exciting opportunities. We've identified some very strong targets, both in Western Australia and New South Wales, and we'll be looking to advance those projects as this year unfolds. Our core focus is now clearly on base and precious metals exploration, and obviously to support the global decarbonisation and re-electrification move that is going on globally. Exploration is underway, which we think will create strong news flow, and we continue to assess both the opportunities that we have and other opportunities that are being presented to us. That's my details. I look forward to taking any questions, and thank you very much for your time today. Thank you, Jane.
Ben, thank you so much for the great presentation. A few questions that have come through. So is the company looking at further project acquisitions?
We're certainly assessing opportunities that are being presented to us. We think that the projects we have, particularly Yalgarra, are very, very exciting. Unfortunately, we haven't quite got the traction for the results that we've generated so far. Like all companies, things are presented to us, and if they're of value and we think that they will generate extreme shareholder value, then we'd act on them.
Wonderful. And what should shareholders look forward to over the next sort of 3 to 6 months?
Yeah, so we're just finalising our budget and exploration plans for Yalgarra. I think that we'll probably focus on the lithium in the northern block and also the Yalgarra South project in the west, which we think is very exciting for a possible copper resource. So I think that as the exploration unfolds, shareholders will be excited by the results that we bring in, and also if we get the opportunity to drill at the Louth Project in New South Wales, once the ground dries out and we've got an opportunity to get on there, I think that could be quite exciting as well.
Wonderful. Well, Ben, thank you so much for joining us today. And if we've got any webinar attendees who have further questions, please feel free to reach out by the contact details on the bottom of the ASX releases.
Thank you. Have a great day.